So tonight we are meeting here at 6 o'clock, and we're going to have, for the summer, we're going to have a typical Sunday evening service that you would typically see at other churches of Christ, and I think you will enjoy it. The reason I think you'll enjoy it is it'll be a bit different than just what you do on Sunday morning. I know the typical problem with, and to be honest, my problem with Sunday evening services is that they're just JV versions of the morning service. Right? It's like, we're going to do what we did this morning again, but worse. And we're not going to do that. We're going to take a different approach. We will sing, we will serve communion, I will talk a little bit, but I'm going to try to push this for those who really want to understand something. Like something you've never gotten before and you're wanting to come understand it for the first time. And on Sunday night here during what we've been doing small groups, they've been doing Hebrews. And Lester's been doing a great job with Hebrews. But I'll introduce our topic by way of telling you a story. I once was getting my hair cut by this girl who I kept going back to. This was in T. I kept going back to because Rachel says that I have a hard time keeping my thoughts out of my face. Like I can't mask what I'm thinking and smile. You know, I think I'm smiling at someone while they're telling me something crazy, and I'm like, I can't do it. So what's nice about a barber, if you have a crazy person as your barber, and I don't now, thank you, and what's nice about a barber is you get to look at your face while they're talking to you, and they have scissors. So you're kind of forced to have, cordial reactions to people's craziness. Well, this girl said, I think it was in January of 2012, she was cutting my hair and she said, did you know that Obama burned the Constitution? No, I didn't. He did that? Yeah. Did you know that Revelation said he was going to? You've been doing a lot of reading, haven't you? He said, yes. Whenever I have a question, I just Google it. All right. Okay. Why does it seem like only crazy people get to have opinions about Revelation? What does it seem if someone comes up to you at your place of work or just at the store and says, you know what Revelation says? And you think, oh goodness, here comes a crazy person. Why can't the rest of us have an opinion about Revelation that's not crazy? That's not actually like predictive and talking about tanks and end of the world, but actually makes sense. I taught the Revelation on a Sunday night for about a year. We made it through the whole book, and I'm going to try to do it in a summer. And I guarantee that you will walk out of here thinking, oh my goodness, I had no idea it was that simple. Because it is simple. Simple, simple, simple. But you're going to have to come Sunday nights to figure out just how simple. It really is. And you might want to bring a notebook or something to write down. Oh, that was simple because I need to remember that next time someone says something crazy about the number 666 or something crazy about 144,000 or something strange about the beast and the sea. Let's just calm down. Revelation is like, have you ever taken a bunch of gravel, like pea gravel, and just thrown it up in the air and let it land in water? That's what the disturbance that it causes, you just can't see the bottom clearly. That's what Revelation is to us right now. We're going to calm down, we're going to relax, and we're going to try to take a clear look at just what was going on in the history. The way a lot of people interpret Revelation means that the original hearers read it or heard it and then thought, well, guess this isn't for me. Whoever Obama is, I don't know. Craziness. craziness to think that that's what the book's talking about. People who didn't like Bush were talking about Bush. People who didn't like Reagan was talking about Reagan. It's always had, no one ever says, hey, you know, Revelation's talking about the Turkish leader right now. Always has something to do with me and my world. We're going to dive into their world and figure out what it meant to them. And then maybe we can kind of glean some understanding on what it means to us. It's going to be real interesting. We're not going to record it. You're going to miss it if you miss. You can miss and still be good with God. But it's going to be a great, great study. You might regret it. Okay, have I shamefully plugged that long enough? Here's an interesting fact that you didn't know this. In the United States, just in the United States, about 500 people a month are hospitalized due to injuries that they incur while trying to eat a taco in the car. Did you know that? Now don't say yes, because I just made that up. Now, that's not true. But it's amazing how many of you just took me at my word because I said it confidently, right? Yeah, 700, yes, it's more than that. Have you ever tried to eat? Jamie knows about injuries in tacos cars. Now, I can say anything confidently, and oftentimes people will just believe me. This is the trick to a good prank phone call. Just say it confidently, people will believe you. Now sometimes your confidence can get you in trouble. Like last Sunday evening, Rachel and the girls and I were playing in the backyard, and we decided that they had this little playhouse, and we wanted to move it to the other side of the yard. So I thought, well, the easiest thing would be for me to get in it, lift it, and walk it across the yard. Like a cartoon sneaking across and something. And that wasn't the funny part. I mean, I could have done that. But I got in there, and there was a hornet making a nest. So I'm in this tiny little house. And there's a hornet. And I said, Rachel, there's a hornet in here. And she says, you want me to go get the spray? We have some Boston hornet spray. And I said, no, I got this. Which is always a good indication that she needs to go do what she said she needed to do. But I found there was a piece of wood in there that they play with make-believe things. So I picked it up, and he was in the corner. Bang! And almost, internally went, ah! He crawled out the side, crawled along, and just looked at me like, oh, you're dead. We found out that I can still jump clean through a window, hit my hands like a leopard, and land on my feet. It was pretty amazing. I have the reactions of a cat. I just meow when I do things. It's not quick. But I was confident, I'm going to kill this thing. And then, if I would have just trusted that Rachel's confidence in the spray is probably a little better than my confidence, sometimes our confidence can get us in trouble. Oh, I can do that. I can handle that. I can do it on my own. But oftentimes we need to know that we can't do it. We can't do it on our own. We can't handle it. We can't. But we've got to have confidence somewhere, because in this world it's just crazy. There are things that are begging you to be afraid of them. The economy. Oh, the dark economy. The political unrest. Just things driving in the rain. I don't know, whatever scares you. Just begging you to be afraid of it. It's begging you to not have confidence in something worth having confidence in. Or even worse, it's begging you to have confidence in yourself when you can't quite pull it off all the way. Elijah must have had a little bit of confidence whenever he was walking to the king and saying, hey, because of me, no rain or dew until I say so. And then he went and hid it. When you make a declaration like that, you got to have a little bit of confidence, because if it doesn't come true, then who's that on? These weathermen who claim one thing and then another thing happens, or even worse, these sports commentators who get on and like, well, of course, the Miami Heat are going to win game 2 running away. And then Miami Heat lose game 2 of the playoffs, and we think, oh, well, they lost game 2, and no one holds these guys accountable. They don't get fired. They made a prediction and they were wrong. But Ahab, when he goes to the king and makes a prediction on behalf of the Lord, on behalf of God, that better come true. Turns out it did. And all through 1 Kings 17, we see the problems of a drought. And then in 1 Kings 18, it says, after a long time, in the 3rd year, the word of the Lord came to Elijah, go and present yourself to Ahab, and I will send rain on the land. Now, if I was Elijah, I would say, okay, God, real quick, couldn't you just send rain on the land? There's a king who's looking for me, trying to kill me. And you're telling me, hey, go to that king and tell him that rain's going to come on the land. See, Elijah didn't do this. Elijah has confidence in what God is doing in the land. Elijah has confidence, so Elijah went to present himself to Ahab. Now, the famine was severe in Samaria. This is how bad he got. Ahab had summoned Obadiah, his palace administrator. Obadiah is a prophet, was a devout believer in the Lord. While Jezebel was killing off the Lord's prophets, Obadiah was taking 100 prophets, had taken 100 prophets and hid them in 2 caves, 50 in each, and supplied them with food and water. So he's a good guy. We get that Obadiah is a good guy. The writer here wants you to understand that Obadiah isn't just some lackey for the king. He's the administrator, but he's also serving God. But him and Ahab go through the land. Ahab says to Obadiah, go through the land to all the springs and valleys. Maybe we can find some grass to keep the horses and mules alive, so we will not have to kill any of our animals. So Ahab and Obadiah divided the land they were to cover. Ahab going in one direction and Obadiah in another. You know a drought has gotten bad when the king is looking himself for grass. Looking for grass. And we had a drought a couple of years back. We're still feeling it a bit, but we weren't looking for grass. Obadiah and Ahab split up and are looking for grass just to feed the animals. It's that bad of a drought. When Obadiah runs into Elijah. As Obadiah was walking along, Elijah met him. Obadiah recognized him, bowed down to the ground and said, is it really you, my lord Elijah? Yes, he replied. Go tell your master, Elijah is here. Let's read what Obadiah says. What have I done wrong, that you are handing your servant over to Ahab to be put to death? As surely as the Lord your God lives, there is not a nation or kingdom where my master has sent someone to look for you. And whenever a nation or kingdom claimed you were not there, he made them swear they could not find you. But now you tell me to go to my master and say, Elijah is here. I don't know where the Spirit of the Lord may carry you when I leave you. If I go and tell Ahab and he doesn't find you, he will kill me. Yet I, your servant, have worshipped the Lord since my youth. Haven't you heard, my Lord? What I did while Jezebel was killing the prophets of the Lord. I hid 100 of the Lord's prophets in 2 caves, 50 in each, and supplied them with food and water. It says so earlier in the text. Probably not what he said, but it makes me enjoy it a little bit more. Verse 14, and now you tell me, go to my master and say, Elijah is here. He will kill me. Now, Elijah has gone to Ahab and said, hey, Ahab, there's not going to be any food. There's not going to be water, rain, dew, nothing until I say so. And then he just disappears. He goes. Now, at first, Ahab probably didn't take him that seriously. Someone would be, well, okay, it's just another crazy person talking about what Revelation is going to do. So he runs, he just lets him go. But whenever the rain and drought, or the rain stops and the dew stops and all the things start to die, he starts thinking, hey, maybe that Elijah guy is the problem here, and let's start looking for him. So he'd go to places and he would make them swear that he wasn't there. And Obadiah says, okay, hold on. You want me, Obadiah, the guy who, by the way, rescued 100 of the Lord's prophets, put them in 2 caves, I don't know, let's just lay that out there. You want me to go to Ahab, the guy who's looking for you, the guy who disappears. By the way, thanks for the drought, I'm looking for grass. The guy who disappears all the time, you want me to say that you're here. I'm a little nervous that you're going to disappear again. Rightfully so. He's disappeared before. He hasn't been found. You would be nervous too. Because if you say he's here and he's not, Ahab's about ready to kill somebody. Might as well be Obadiah. You see, in our life, our confidence in other people will fail us. Right? Those of you who are married, you know. If the kids have grown up, you know. If you're an employer or just an employee, you know people fail. Elijah might be gone. See, the healthy marriage, the healthy work relationship, the healthy parent is the one that understands that the human beings around them are just that. Human beings. And that they are going to fail you. They're going to make mistakes. You often see parents in grocery stores just losing their mind at their kid. My dad would always turn to us and be like, probably a little too cynical, but Dad would always say, they have to whoop them in the grocery store because they don't whoop them at home. Might be true, I don't know. And then he'd just go home and whoop me for no reason. But we have, now the reason they're lashing out is that they're just shocked that their kid's playing in the clothes rack. Every kid who's ever lived has played in the clothes rack. If you didn't, you must have not watched Sesame Street or something. You're weird. Every kid played in the clothes. Me and my brother, you know, they used to have these big poles, just rock solid poles in Walmart. Just, I don't know if they're still there, I don't pay attention. But they were big and round, and they were just just steel. So like if you ran into, of course they did that by they put real thin carpet around the bottom third of it, just to protect you. So that you also have like head trauma and a carpet burn if you ran into one of them. But me and my brother would get a ways back and we would sprint and jump and see how high we could latch onto those things. Kind of market. Kids just play in the store. We're bored to death. But these parents are losing their mind because they think, oh no, my kid's not doing what she's supposed to or what he's supposed to. Of course they're not doing what they're supposed to. They're kids. They're human beings. I've got some parents pointing to children. They're not going to do. Well, why would we lose our control? Why would we lose our peace about us? We know human beings are going to fail us, and kids, let's be honest, are the worst kind of human beings. I'm just kidding. But they act out. wives or with our husbands. Because we think, well, they're supposed to operate within the standards that I think they need to be operating. And when they get outside of that, we kind of lose our cool. And we shouldn't. Because human beings are going to fail us. And if I was Obadiah, and Elijah came to me and said, hey, go tell your master that I'm here, I would have said the exact same thing. Because I know in the end that my life should not be entrusted into the hands of another human being. They aren't always going to come through. And this is just this one instance, and Elijah has been disappearing a lot lately. I would say Elijah, I don't like this at all. Then Elijah says something to Obadiah that I think is key. And you got to ask yourself, would this move me? Elijah said, as the Lord Almighty lives, whom I serve, I will surely present myself to Ahab today. It's not, Elijah takes it up a step. It's not just about him anymore, just him honoring his word. He said, as the Lord lives, as surely as the Lord Almighty lives, whom I serve, I will be here. So, the Bible says, Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. Obadiah said, I can't do this. No, he's probably going to kill me because you're probably going to disappear again. And Elijah says, as surely as the Lord lives, as the Lord Almighty lives, as surely as He lives, I will be here. So Obadiah went. See, there may be a lot of things in your life that you are afraid to do because you don't think the people around you are going to receive them well, or like them that much. Or maybe the change is going to just upset your whole family. But if what you are doing is based in the confidence that the Lord lives, if what you do day to day comes out of your passionate belief that God is alive, that Jesus, even though they tried to kill him, got up from the grave. They buried him and walked away thinking it was done, and Jesus said, it is not done. If your life revolves around that point, that God is alive, then you can confidently walk into any situation and know that even if they kill me, which, let's be honest, we live in the West. They don't kill people for being Christians where we live. They might make fun of you. They might taunt you. They might not want to hang out with you. Oh, and I just hear the first century Christians say, they might not want to hang out with you. What? We aren't persons. We're just flat out not persons. Our lives need to be lived so that people can see our confidence in the Lord. What's the thing in your life right now that would take the most faith from you? The decision that would take the most faith in God and what God is doing for you to step out and talk to that person or even stop talking to that person. What would take the most faith for you? I would argue that's the very thing you need to be doing. It's the things that take the most faith. Because our lives should look like we believe. We believe that the Lord lives. As surely as the Lord lives. That sort of statement should set us on edge. set us up straight and make us think, oh yeah, of course. If I've got to compare this thing to the Lord living, and you say that if the Lord lives and this is true, then by God, this is true. Because if there's anything in this world that I'm most confident about, like I believe that my wife loves me. I believe that I'm going to have my next meal and I don't have to worry about it. I believe that when I put my foot on the gas pedal, my car goes. If I shifted it properly or something like that. There's a lot of things I put trust in. But the thing I should put the most confidence I have is the assurance that Jesus is alive. That God truly lives. Sometimes we don't live it that way, and I'll tell you why. Rachel and I went to go see the movie Tron when it came out. Not the first one. We weren't old enough to drive, or even, I don't know, it was in the 80s. So we were alive, but we couldn't go see Tron. So whenever the new one came out, like the 3D Tron came out, we were aching for a day. So we went and saw Tron in 3D. It was okay. But in the movie Tron, there are a lot of chase scenes. They're riding on these light bikes and riding through the street. It's an intense movie. Now, guys, I'm going to give you some insight into what your man is thinking sometimes. Most of the time, it's nothing. But sometimes, when we leave a movie, an action movie, our endorphins are up. I was driving our SUV, just all tense. Thinking, what if someone was chasing me? What would I do? Looking in my rearview mirror more than I should. And then I saw a cow that was running. And I thought, I've never seen a cow run before. Like he was just by himself. Just, yay, just running. And I thought, what is he running to? Do cows run for fun? Like, is he running from something? Like, I just never seen, has he been thinking about this for days? Thinking, today's the day I'm going to run. And finally, today was the day, and I caught it. Now, if someone was really chasing me, if someone was actually chasing me, do you think I would have been distracted by the cat? Probably not. I would have said, cow running, all right, keep things in focus. I believe that oftentimes our life deviates from our faith is because deep down we aren't sure it's real. If we really believe, if we actually believe that Jesus is alive and that His living will afflict my death, that when I die, I too will no longer be dead, but I'll be alive. There will come a day where I'm not dead anymore. Like Jesus isn't dead anymore. If my confidence is put in the death, burial, and resurrection and kingship of Jesus, I can believe that every ounce of my being, and I can be real, I can guarantee you wouldn't get distracted. I can also guarantee that your life will revolve around the assurance that Jesus, that God lives. It would change your story. It would change your song. It would change your life. If you haven't been living with that assurance, you need to start. The Jesus who came and took you for His own and let you be His. That Jesus is alive and He's King and He rules over all the things that you could be afraid of, you no longer have to be afraid of. Not like your bank account's going to get better, your cancer might not go away, but He beat death. Because Jesus lives, we have a chance again like that. And it's time this morning to change your game. It's time to mix things up. It's our story, it's our song.